Hello everyone and welcome back to our super week of action. I'm Eve, your show supporter, along with Trevor, Quickshot Henry, and we are speaking with Coutard from the victorious Copenhagen Wolves. Coming into Super Week, a win immediately, and what a close game it was versus Fnatic. Start at the beginning, what were the priorities for you guys going into picks and bans?
Well, we had our mind set on the Kassadin if he's open. Other than that, we were a bit split between the Lee Sin and Lulu. And obviously they made the choice easy for us by banning out the Lee, but leaving Lulu.
Well, it worked out for you guys in the end. Talk to me about that Lulu matchup in the mid lane. You went a little bit aggressive at level 5, ended up giving up a death. What happened there?
Well, I were taking on a huge advantage early on and bullied him out of the lane. And when I got back, I got a bit greedy and wanted to put the pressure straight up. However, I did not expect him to actually go for me. And it turned kind of ugly.
But it was still a very interesting matchup, and when you guys went into team fights, you guys had a couple of factors that made the fights incredibly close. Tell me from your perspective what it was that made it that you just couldn't kill each other a lot of times.
I think both teams wanted to stay alive and not give the enemies advantage. Therefore, if everyone is focused on surviving, you're going to move out instead of sacrificing yourself for the kill.
Yeah, and we actually have a great example of one of those team fights coming up for you guys.
So let's actually pull up the first replay that we've got. It's about 21 minutes into the game. Before we start this one, you can take a look. You guys have a 6,000 gold lead. And from this fight, you sort of let Fnatic get back into the game. I want to know what was happening in the minds of the Copenhagen Wolves. Did this catch you off guard? Let's actually start the replay and talk me through it, Coutard.
First off, we wanted to force something, but we knew that they could engage with the Gragas ulti, just like they did, and they followed up nicely. We do get the disengage with the Lulu ult, the Renekton taking most of the damage. However, we felt they used a lot of abilities, so we thought about re-engaging here, and that's what we do, but we underestimated their damage and overestimated our damage.
So Amazing has a very good engage, catches about 3 or 4 people there with that Agony's Embrace. What's going through your mind as the Lulu on the backline right now looking at this? Who starts yelling back, back, back when Amazing's just gone in?
Well, first off, we're not really backing. We're trying to take the targets close to us, but everyone just keeps getting out. And in the end, we see we're not going to win this. We're just like, get out whoever can. I mean, me as a supportive champion, I'm trying to help them get out.
You mentioned that you're a supportive champion, yet with that supportive champion, you did extremely well in what was the deciding fight of the game, and we also have a replay of that because it was glorious.
Yeah, you actually got 2 double kills back to back, wasn't able to get the quadra. Let's pull the second replay up onto your screen. This comes much later in the game, and this was probably the only definitive team fight. It was very clearly a Copenhagen Wolves win. Now let's start the replay, and once again, why was this such a strong victory for your team?
Well, first off, we didn't know how to end it, so we basically trapped them and got engaged from the side. The engage kinda messed up, because we didn't land our abilities as we should, but as it continues, we see them using all their abilities and trying to get out. And with our strong backline, we can just chase them down and actually win the team fight.
Now, what is actually going through your mind in terms of the situation? You started the fight very quickly. How important was it that Soaz's Mundo wasn't there at that exact second?
Well, it allows you to deal the damage to the more important targets before he arrives, and also they will be getting out, so when the teleport actually finish, he will be out of position.
One more quick question to follow on from what you were mentioning. You said you didn't really know how to finish. This is something we've seen from the Copenhagen Wolves many times over the split, but you're now 5-0. This time was a team fight. How do you figure out how to finish games going forward?
Well, we don't want to do the classical Baron throw that we did a lot of games. So basically we're looking how they're spreading out, if there's free turrets to take, if we can trap them, if there's easy Baron or something like that.
Well, tell me then about another defining moment that luckily for you guys didn't decide the game when Fnatic decided to run all the way up the mid lane and get the tower. How did you react to that one?
We actually thought that if we could sandwich them, we would get a easy team fight for us, pick up a lot of kills, maybe get Baron, maybe get an inhib, but we only managed to pick up 1 kill, and they got the 2 turrets, so it was really bad trade.
So just when you say you would hope to sandwich them, was this the matter of that the Copenhagen Wolves didn't jump in quickly enough as a team, or was it that Fnatic sort of outplayed you in between that inhibitor turret and inner turret?
It's a bit of both. Obviously, they played the team fight really well. Also, I think we were slightly out of position to react to it because we didn't get to them when they were on the first turret, and they even got to finish the second turret before we actually got to engage.
So Coutard, 5-game winning streak right now. The first winner here in Super Week. What are the biggest challenges you think for the Copenhagen Wolves going through Super Week? A specific team maybe, or maybe something in your own team?
Well, we need to keep our heads a bit lower. Getting a too big ego will probably backfire and cause us to underestimate someone or something like that, or taking risky calls. So just keeping one game at a time.
Yeah, keeping a clear head. Fantastic performance. Congratulations, Coutard, for that win. And now we're going to send Vix back over to D-Man and Fisho for our next match.
Thank you for that, Shox and Quickshot. It is time for our next matchup, featuring the battle of the top table, ROC versus Gambit. And of course, ROC, well, they're coming into this one looking good with a 2-0 lead in this head-to-head, beating both Gambit's main lineup and the subs, of course, the Gambit in pajamas. Since Fnatic's dropped from the top spot, though, these two teams have been consistently going back and forth, and this one will be to take the first place.
And not only do they fight for the #1 spot, but Rocket also fights to end their 3-game losing streak. Because their early game has been horrible in the last few games, and it simply means they are too far behind to fight when they end the laning phase. And they've lost every single dragon in 3 games in a row. And Rocket, they're trying to get back by just extending the games and farming up, but it's not been working for them at all. And also, if you look at the losses, it really shows how Rocket performs as a team. Because not a single player has been standing out in these matches, and people have been banning out Celavar, but he's still been putting up fairly decent numbers. Meanwhile, Overpower and Yangas, they've been playing a lot more passive than before. So in general, it shows to me at least that it's the entire team that needs to step up and fix their early game.
And of course, Gambit, well, they returned with their full roster last week, beating out Millennium and then losing to Fnatic. They've spent the weekend here in Cologne, partying maybe a little bit for Carnival, who knows. They've been practicing hard for Super Week, of course, and it will be interesting to see what they prepared.
And last week for Gambit, such a hit and miss pretty much the entire week. In day 1, they dominated Millennium, and every single lane came out on top in both in CS. Darren, he had some issues top lane against Kevin, but he just decided to roam, and then together with the other lanes from Gambit, he just pressured down Millennium, and they picked up every single dragon. The teamfight coordination, again, spot on for them. Millennium had no chance once the teamfights actually broke out. And then the game against Fnatic, completely different story. As we talked about earlier, we had Darren with big issues against the Lulu from Source. He gave up first blood in the lane as well. That is really, really bad. Diamond Prox, he played a very passive game on Elise. And meanwhile, Sana, he was just picking up kills on every single gank, and he put Fnatic ahead. And we never really got to a point where Gambit could teamfight because the poke combo from Fnatic was simply too hard to deal with and just constantly got poked down, and Gambit didn't pick up a single kill in the game. And one thing we have to remember with Gambit, after these good days of practice here in Cologne, and them being Gambit is that we can always expect them to come out very, very strong when it really matters. Because Gambit, they can be hit and miss, but we know they will deliver when it really matters. And they really want, if they really want to claim this #1 spot, this is the week for them to do it, and that's why I actually expect them to come out really strong.
Well, let's check out those 2 lineups for these 2 super teams. On the blue side, it is ROCAT, and that means it's going to be Zazas in that top lane, Jankos in the jungle, Overpower is the mid laner, Celavar the AD carry, and Vander in support.
On the red side, we have Gambit Gaming with Darren in the top lane, we have Diamond in the jungle, Alex is the mid laner, Genji as the AD carry, and of course we have Edward as the support.
And of course, we couldn't talk about the 2 current #1 teams without talking about their mid laners. Our featured matchup for this game is all about Overpower versus Alexich. And of course, both these players, they've had their struggles over the last few games, and the pressure is certainly on for one of them to be big in this match.
And if you take Overpower, he started out the LCS in fantastic form. He was winning mid lane, team fighting perfectly, and he played a lot of different champions. But lately, his aggressive playstyle has stopped. And he's more focused on simply farming than actually making plays. This could be a tactic from ROCAT, but it's not been working for them at all. And the focus on farming is great if the rest of your team is able to win or go even in the early game, or if you can stop the enemy mid laner at least from having an impact on the map. The issue for Overpower, though, have been the fact that the enemy mid laners have been roaming around, making ganks, and having a lot of pressure while Overpower is just left in the mid lane farming. And he really needs to make sure he can stop Alex from roaming, either with ganks from Jankos or just by going back to his very aggressive 1v1 style we saw earlier in the season that made him such a good player. Because Alex Ish, as a player, we know he can roam a lot. We saw it with his Lulu, we've seen him do it on champions like LeBlanc and K6. And if Alex can win the lane against Overpower, then he will be able to pretty much dictate the early game for Gambit and punish every single lane from Rocket and the weak early game is the correct term.
That's the term you were after. And I'm not too sure what to make of these two. I can generally tell off body language what these two teams are feeling like coming into this one. When I see Alexic and the team smiling, it generally means problems for the opposition. And he had a big grin on his face during that lineup.
I really hope we see Gambit just coming in full speed, preparing some new picks, something special, and just showing us how good they are when it really matters. And also I want to see Rocket, who's been on this losing streak, turned around, really show also how good they are and how good they were early in the season.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Picks and bans about to get underway. What do we expect? Bans coming out from these two teams.
I want to see Evelyn being banned away against Diamond. He's too good on this champion, puts too much pressure. LeBlanc against Alex is an assassin where he can roam. And then maybe something like an Elise, because Jankos, he's actually been going for different junglers, and maybe they don't want to give it up for someone like Diamond.
Well, Kassadin was taken away by Gambit. Lulu has been a hot pick for Gambit as well, so that may well be a focus here. There is the Evelyn ban taken away from Diamond. They definitely don't want to let him through on that one. A grin on Diamond's face. Jankos doing all the talking, it seems, in the picks and bans so far for his team again.
And we have to see if Gambit wants to ban away Lulu, or if they actually don't think Rocket plays it. Because we haven't exactly seen him, at least on first pick, something like a Lulu. So we need to see if they've been practicing. Taking away the Lee Sin instead of Elise. So
Respect ban there.
Maybe they want to first pick Elise then and say, fine with us.
Yeah, and maybe force Diamond onto something else like a Scala. Who knows what he could work out with. His Shen, of course, but in fact, it is going to be the Lulu. That leaves a number of champions open. What will they use for their first pick?
We have Elise open if they want to go the jungle route. Pantheon is banned away as well, so we have actually 3 jungle bans. Meanwhile, something, again, Trundle for Xaxus has been a very popular pick. It is open. Seems though they decide to go with the Elise for Jankos. That's why they ban away the Lee Sin. Simply to say, we take Elise, ban away the second best jungler in our opinion, and now Diamond has to find something completely different. We've seen him a lot of different things, but not all of them that actually worked.
And actually, it's a pretty clever ploy by Rocket. Take Diamond out of the picture maybe, force the lanes to actually work solo, which doesn't always work, but then again, Rocket have had their own problems in those lane phases. Darian and Diamond on your screen. Let's see what they're going to go with. Will it be the likes of Warwick we've seen from Darian over the weeks?
And it's funny how early in the season we had the trend of banning away supports. Now people are just leaving them open, so pretty much every single one, except for maybe Lulu support, is actually here. They can grab it, or they can delay it later on because they think there's so many options. We have seen again Trundle on someone like Xaxus. He's been very strong on it. They could take it away from him, or maybe a Renekton to put in some pressure on him early.
Okay. Choosing to go for the Morgana over Thresh, where Thresh is available. Vi is almost certainly an option for Diamond in that jungle. And they have gone with the Morgana, but is it the support Morgana?
I expect it to be support Morgana. It's a bit of a risky blind pick because you actually don't want to play against something like Annie. We've seen it last week, how much you can get punished by Annie early on because of the long range, good harass onto you, and it's very hard to black shield or tippers because it's more or less instant popping down. You need to have it on there beforehand, and then Annie can just delay, not pop down her tippers. So it's a bit risky, but first, or maybe it's blind pick, but they definitely feel like they want this Morgana support. Meanwhile, the Vi, simply result of all the junglers being banned away, he goes for the best option.
Well, I believe he's played Vi. I'm trying to think what week it was, but it seemed to work out well for him. Generally, anyone that plays Vi works out well for them because he's a straightforward champion to play. Looks like it's going to be Xaxus with Renekton, and Selva, well, it's sticking to the tried and tested, going for that Caitlyn.
We've actually seen people banning out Selvar in the past. This time around, leave everything open. He gets the Caitlyn he absolutely loves to play. Also with the Renekton, Rocket can do what they love, split pushing. Put Renekton up top lane, shove down the lane constantly, keep the Caitlyn in the mid lane to just push out every single time they have the chance and move up towards the turret, start hitting the turret if someone is moving around. So Rocket gets a very standard lineup for them, and it's a good start.
We'll see what Alexic is going to pick up for his top laner, or will it be the Shen maybe for Darian? Darian, Shen up against Renekton. It's a lineup we saw, I think it was back on maybe week 1. I think it was in Super Week we saw that one. I think it was Kevin that maybe pulled Shen out a couple of times. And of course, well, I'm expecting Actually, I was going to expect an illusion from Genji. He may go for the Jinx. It's a champion he does like.
You could go for Jinx, but it's a bit risky against something like Caitlyn. Because you're getting outranged a lot, you can be poked down in lane. Lucian is the standard way to go against Caitlyn, but it actually seems like, yeah, he will log into Jinx, so he's not afraid of this Caitlyn in lane, unless they want to decide to do something else. And he simply feels that he can do well enough, even though he is pretty much in a disadvantage early on, and get the farm he needs to then get to the team fights where he can really be strong on something like a Jinx.
Well, there is a whole plethora of choices for Vander here to choose as support. He knows what he's going to be facing, or does he? Is that a Morgana, or will it be a Morgana mid lane? We'll see. Of course, ROC, they have their mid lane and support to choose. Which way are they going to go with this one? Ziggs is out there.
Absolutely, Ziggs is a good option for them. Gragas is there as well. Very safe pick. You can pick it blind all you want. Obviously, we have the likes of Mordekaiser he played earlier. Not expecting to see him this one. But actually, the way it worked for Rocket is they more or less planned 4 of the picks. And then Overpower, he's left to decide by himself. What do I want to play? That's also why they often delay the mid lane pick for such a long time.
Oh. Well, could we be seeing the Mordekaiser again? No.
Teasing us.
Teasing us and switching to the Gragas. So playing with the safe pick, the Gragas pick. We just saw Peke running it. We can see it's got that wave clear, that crazy explosiveness. It's not going to be Teemo. So Thresh for Vanderlife.
So we have the hook from him, we have obviously the ultimate from Gragas, we have the double dash in from Renekton. There's a lot of things that can try and get towards the backline to catch out Jinx. It's very hard for Genji to position early on in the fights, but if he can delay going in till we have all the things popped from the side of Rocket, they won't actually be able to get to him, so that's where the Jinx pick can really work out for them. Meanwhile, Gragas, very safe, blind pick. Fresh, of course, for Vander, we've seen it so many times. Very strong lane, he can set up plays with the rest of the team.
You know, I love these champion selections that Edward makes, but
always goes
one of these days, it's going to bite him in the butt. It's going to press the wrong button. He's going to lock in the wrong champion. But Kha'Zix was the champion chosen for Alex Ich. We do get to see whether he can make some of those plays. Of course, he got a pentakill during the summer on Kha'Zix. It's a good champion for him.
It's one of his favorites, and now he got this assassin. If he can get going early on in the lane, maybe from a gank from Diamond, or at level 6 mark he can all in, get the ultimate from Darien, try and get a kill onto Overpower, and then we really know how Alex can start roaming around, picking up kills left and right. Gragas, however, is a very nice pickup versus Kha'Zix. You're very safe, you can farm from a distance, and you also have the body slam if Kha'Zix should jump on you. So I expect it to be very farm-focused mid lane, and then we might maybe see more focus towards the top lane, where we have the very aggressive Renekton versus the very defensive Shen.
We really do have a all-in cover as well for Gambit. So what do we make overall from these two teams?
I like the thing with the Gambit setup. If they pick up a target with Vi or land a binding,
just single him out.
You just single him out. You have the Rocket to execute from Jinx, and then obviously you have Kha'Zix jumping in, getting reset, continue jumping. I like that setup. Rocket-wise, very strong laners all around. And very basic setup. They have wave clear, they have siege potential, and also they have good team fights, they have good scaling into late game. So I like both setups.
Well, the players are just about to head onto the Rift, so let's check in your votes. According to lolesports.com, this game is a close one. 43% for ROC, 57% for Gambit.
And that's pretty much spot on in my opinion. You have the free game losing streak, Rocket, you have Gambit, who's, yes, they lost to Fnatic, but they're still a very good team, so very even match, maybe slightly in favor of Gambit.
I'm never quite sure what's going to turn up with Gambit.
Nope.
I'm never quite sure. Sometimes they turn up and they just look unstoppable. And then against Fnatic, they didn't really turn up at all.
That's the thing. Gambit's early game is a bit shaky, and they need to do well there to actually get into these team fights they absolutely love. So it can be hard for them if they fall behind early. That's what Rocket might want to punish with this very early laning setup they have with Renekton, obviously punishing top lane. You have the Caitlyn very strong in lane. In the bot lane, obviously Gragas. So if they can manage to win this early game against Gambit, they might be able to take it from there and force them to never actually team fight.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. ROC as the blue up against Gambit as the red. And as per usual, we probably won't see a great deal of invade. It really is only Millennium that tends to try things out. Although Gambit have been known to do their blue buff invade, but only when they're playing as the blue side. As I say that, pretty sure Darien and Zazas are about to face check.
Actually, Gambit has a very good level 1 setup. If you land a binding followed up by a taunt from Shin. I think he knows he's in there. He does. He's just
like,
teasing him.
Hit
Turning it back to him. Disrespect.
Showing him the butt. That's exactly what he's doing there. Darian is in his red swag pants as well. You may notice the Shen outfit that he's in. I'm not sure. I'm trying to see. Oh, he hasn't got his red outfit on today. He's in the proper Gambit attire. He normally comes in with his red tracksuit bottoms. His comfy pants, I believe, is the phrase that a lot of people like to use. But he is he's pretty comfortable. He's just stood in that river, not doing anything. So.
Not much is going to happen anyway if he actually goes in there. They're going to hit each other one time, just move away.
And then walk away.
Yeah, and then walk away. Nothing really is going to happen from
They've both got Doran's shield and pot, so they just both sit there and stare at each other. This is going to happen for, I would say, a good 10 minutes of the game.
So, place down the ward. Only advantage for Rocket is they know now the ward is there, so they won't obviously invade into this red buff, but they weren't in a position to do it anyway. So more or less just a ward from Darian. Nothing really happened.
So, red buff start out for Diamond and Darian. Darian's going to be helping him out in there. Meanwhile, blue buff, of course, for Jankos. Zazas will be leashing out there. We did see ROC members all heading down towards the bottom, so standard meta from the two teams. What do we expect? Who's going to be pushing for that level 2?
Obviously, both bot lanes want to go for this one. It's going to be easier for someone. The good thing about Jinx, you can put on your Rocket, you can start hitting the back line of the waves, and you do a lot of AoE damage to it. But with Rocket, with Celavar and Vander just shoving down the wave instantly together with the Q from Caitlyn, they might be able to get it early. And then we see them actually already pushing back Gambit.
You see Edward taking some damage, taking some lashings from Vander there. And it will be seemingly ROC will push for that level 2 early on. They have taken down the first wave of minions, and yeah, they'd already done the same. Genja does take some abuse there, but not really going to go for it. Poison being used by Edward in level 1.
You will actually see Edward starting his W simply to try and shove the wave. It is early level 2 though for Rocket, missing the hook.
Yeah, it doesn't quite land it on there. Edward just taking some damage once again. Vander has got that death sentence leveled up now, doesn't go for it.
And if we look at the two supports, Morgana's support is actually fairly decent against Thresh because you can block the hook, you can block the flay, you can block the box obviously. So there's a lot of safety in having this Morgana together with the Jinx, especially in team fights. But when it comes to just straight up harass, Thresh has the advantage. He is going to be able to always, if he dodges the binding, there's nothing Morgana can actually do towards him, and he can just walk in and try and land the hook on someone.
Vander goes back and keeps on lashing Edward. Really is focusing on support versus support. He finally puts the ward down in the bush, so they know exactly when he's coming. Going to be making sure they step out the way of that death sentence. Dark bindings are available, and he's not being baited into this one. Instead, he's going to go in, flies on towards Genja straight away, and puts a lot of damage back down on towards him. But Vander taking a good beating as well. Ignite being used by Edward there, and of course barrier by Genja.
It was actually a slight misplay from Rocket side because he went in, then he flayed Genja out of the Piltover Peacemaker from Caitlyn, so they didn't get the damage here. Actually ended up going fairly even in their trade. Took, Ignite for barrier. It's obviously an advantage for Rocket, the fact that 2 summoners down from Gambit, but still, they didn't get enough from this one, as much as they at least wanted to.
Certainly enough to keep them back away. Meanwhile, we do see Darian back in his top lane, keeping up equal farm so far with Zazas.
He's doing a good job on the turret. Shen is very good at CSing on the turret because you have your Q to last hit these minions. We need to see though if Jankos decides to come up there at some point to try and dive him, if they shove Darren all the way down to the turret. But so far he's keeping very healthy. It's going to be very risky to go for him.
Alex is pushed heavily up lane here. Jankos biding his time. He could repel and use the minions to get closer, which is exactly what he's going to do. Alex just leaps away towards the bushes.
Very smart play by Alex. Was on the right side to just get out safely. Didn't have to use any summoners. Overpower, he didn't want to like flash body slam him either. Just trying to push him away from the minions, picking up some fire.
So lanes trading evenly in the top and middle. It's really only the bottom where the advantage is being gained by ROC so far. Edward pretty low here again. He really is being beaten down by Vander.
Vander's doing so much damage to him every single time Edward doesn't have the binding, because he just walks into his face. This time around the binding at a glance, but nothing comes from it, at least not from Edward's side. Taking a lot of poke as well.
Genja happily just carry on farming. He didn't care that Edward had caught that binding. Edward himself is very low and was trying to teleport back. Meanwhile, Alex Hitch goes aggressive here. Overpower maybe forcing him back on towards the tower. He will be able to farm his way through this one though.
A nice use of the small XP advantage he had, because he got level 5, Alex was still level 4, just straight up body slammed him. He had all the minions to back him off if Alex had jumped onto him. It's a very nice play by Overpower, being very aggressive from the start, just like he needs to be.
Yeah, that crystalline flask must be pretty low on charges now, I feel, for Alex Hitch. He may well be backing away in just a moment, so would seem that Overpower is starting to garner himself some form of advantage in this mid lane. You can see he's chugging that potion through again. Belly slam comes in again. Alexic not worried this time, but he will take another barrel.
Takes a lot of harass from Overpower. He can now recall. He has quite a lot of gold. Get maybe something like an early chalice. Standard one, but he's against the physical one, so he might want to get some early armor to survive the all-in from Alex if it should happen later on.
Well, Alex sticks around for the next wave. There is going to be the beginnings of the Zhonya's Hourglass for Overpower. Of course, it does give him a slight bit of ability power along with that armor as well. Darien taking some harass from Zazas in the top lane.
So he is going to have less mana regen in the mid lane on Overpower, but just the fact he has this early armor means it's going to be a lot easier for him to fight Alex 1v1. And also if Vi should join in, he's going to do less damage towards him. So smart pick up. I'm not sure if he's going to go straight into the early Zhonya's or he's just going to keep it like this for the early armor.
Well, Alex has gone back himself, gets himself a tier and 2 longswords. So Brutalizer being built up. Did get spotted Jankos here by that ward that was in the river. Meanwhile, Diamond wards up the Tribush, spots him out, and he's going to maybe go for the slam, charging it up, and then went, okay, you get to ward it.
So we actually see Jankos putting some focus on the top lane because Darren is shoved all the way down to his own turret. He can move. Overpower is now joining in. Ward is spotting him out, but what can they actually do with this from Gambit side?
Not a lot, I feel, because surely he can just shadow dash across the explosive cask, and good lord, he just exploded.
And again, take advantage of having Renekton, like Rocket just did, like we saw Copenhagen Wolves last game. Push the wave all the way in, and then you just go up and you dive whoever is standing on this turret. Very nice use. This was why they early picked this Renekton, not something like a Tron.
So the damage done. Darien down, first blood. Is that a sign, I wonder? Darien can so often be one of those players that can either carry a game or just completely feed his way through it. But when there's 3 members diving on you on the top, it's not a lot you can do about it.
And the issue for Gambit is the fact that your turret up here is going to take quite a lot of damage, so if Darien should ulti away, Sasus should be able to pick it up relatively easy because you already shoved the wave down so much, making it very hard for Gambit to actually make plays unless they don't care about losing the top turret.
Red buff's going to be taken by Diamond, Wraiths are being taken by Alex Itch, so Alex going to make sure he has those Wraiths and tries to keep up the farm. Blue buff just going across to Overpower as well, so that's being concluded, which means of course that counteracts the fact that he doesn't have that chalice.
And Alex has decided to evolve his W early on. We just saw it here. Gives him a lot more wave clear, but straight up damage or burst, he's going to have less. And he won't even get the resets here early on. Normally, you actually don't take it early. You take the Q early on to get the straight up burst damage. And then you take your E at level 11. This time around, we need to see what he does there. Will he go for the leap at level 11 so he gets the reset? Or just full on focus on damage, going in, kill, slightly moving away?
Yeah, and normally the W doesn't even get taken anymore, the Void Spikes. Doesn't even get taken because they just tend to evolve it for the ultimate to take that damage, 20-40%, I can't remember which one it is, these days on Kha'Zix. So instead, hasn't gone with that.
So I see a few reasons for it. First of all, the wave clear from Gambit is very weak. You have only Jinx to do slight amount of wave clear, but that's very low unless she can actually get in range to hit with her rocket all the time on the minions. So he does get more wave clear. Also for split pushing, if he wants to fast push a lane, the W is going to be better for him, but that's pretty much the 2 reasons.
We'll see how it works out. Of course, Overpower will be pushing hard, which is probably one of the other reasons he's going to have to try and keep him at bay. Edward doing his job at keeping him at bay, but he's going to get caught out. The Flay comes in, but that was a great Chompers coming out. Jankos catches the cocoon on him. The Spider's going to skitter towards Edward, but not the damage they need.
And Edward actually didn't have his black shield just when the fight started. That's why he had to flash out. It was a good engage from Rocket. Didn't get Edward down. Instead, though, they moved towards this dragon, but Diamond is nearby. It can be risky for him to start.
Risky fight because they didn't get the kill they required. Alex Itch is still allowing round as well. Diamond coming in here. They are going to be able to push on towards him. Van pretty low on mana. Going to get caught with the Dark Binding. Will they chase on towards this one? Edward instead is going to take the damage. He will go down. The Repel comes out. He's going to get dropped by Jankos. But quickly they're focusing on towards Sullivan. Sullivan's going to get away from this one. Ace in the hole comes out. Oh, he gets the shot onto Diamond. Genja, can he get onto your Jankos? Yeah, he can. It's a 2 for 2, but Overpower comes in and finishes the deal. Takes down Alex Itch with the belly slam.
So Rocket, they get the dragon, they get 3 kills on their side. Oh, sorry, they didn't actually pick up the dragon. They stopped it because they moved out when the fight started. Gambit went in to stop it, picked up 2 kills, but still lost 3 members, and we also saw the ultimate being used from Darren, but he didn't get down in time.
I wonder whether it was interrupted or whether he just didn't get there in time. I'm not too sure. Zazas had just gone back. We didn't quite catch a glimpse of that one. I wasn't keeping focus, oddly enough, trying to keep on towards that. Meanwhile, Genja, though, putting pressure on towards that bottom lane. Let's take a look at this fight.
So actually, Edward going in here, he only popped his ultimate towards Jankos. Meanwhile though, Diamond gets onto Van in the backline, and look at the rocket, boom, hitting straight on it because Jankos actually repels here to avoid some of the damage coming into Genji. Meanwhile up in the top lane, what we see coming in the ultimate there from Silver wasn't blocked, and Shen was interrupted by Zazos onto his own turret.
Yeah, that's why actually that would have saved Diamond as well. So Zazos doing that, getting that stun on towards Darien on the tower nonetheless as well.
And this is again why Renekton just have to shove Shen in all the time. So you're always close to him if he ults away. This time around, for the next dragon, there's no ultimate on Darien, and Gambit would have to fight it without him.
Black Shield being used by Edward, and Vander actually catching that death sentence on towards him. This is actually giving Genja a lot of free time to catch back in that bottom lane. They are making the move back towards this dragon. Not too sure whether they're going to be able to go for this one. They do find the Dark Binding off. It's not going to land. Diamond's going to have to go full on, neck deep on this one, and he's not going to land it.
And very nice play by Overpower up here. He zoned Alex away, so Gambit never felt they could actually go in for this fight because Alex was all the way towards the mid lane. He couldn't move past his Gragas. So nice play by Rocket. Got the dragon they wanted, and now they can go back to the laning phase, just as we saw before, and without actually giving up any kills.
Yeah, Zazos already also went missing in the top lane as well, which gave him a little bit of a pause for thought, thinking it could well have been a 5-on-4 situation. Instead, he just simply gone up to take the golems. I think he pushed in towards around the red buff, warded out the red buff as well.
But notice all the wards towards this bot lane. It's going to be very hard to actually put up a gank. When they should come through the lane, get a lantern, or you hit a binding and then Diamond joins in. Going through the river, impossible, you will be spotted out.
Speaking of ganks, Diamond level 8 now on that Vi. We haven't seen him anywhere in lane yet.
He was up towards the top lane when they actually dived to Shen, but he couldn't do anything because they just walked in, 3 people, caught him on the turret, and that's pretty much it for him. The rest of Gambit has been happy just farming away. Alex is doing a fairly good job getting the CS he needs in here, and also Genji is trying to catch up towards Silver, who was very far ahead early on.
But what I want to point out is the fact that Rocket haven't won their lane phase in the last God knows how many games. But when they do, they tend to make it count. Gambit, on the other hand, they are capable of coming back when their lane is lost.
And notice Alex, Spirit of the Elder Lizard. There's a jungle item. So basically, he wants to shove up the mid lane, then he has his tier to constantly keep his mana high, go towards Wraiths and Wolves, and just farm them over and over and over again. I don't even expect Alex to join any fights before he has all the farm he wants to, because he's so farm dependent with this build, because he's been laying his core items, so he needs to just constantly farm away. Took the wave here, moving up towards this red buff that Rocket is actually starting already.
Overpowers here as well. There's actually 4 members of Rocket moving in towards this one. 3 members, sorry, and they do take away that red buff. Alex didn't want to get involved.
And he couldn't really. Gambit wasn't in a position to fight, and they're also weaker at this moment against Gragas, Elise, and Renekton. So we just need to see how long Gambit can actually keep this laning phase going and keep Alex just farming everything he can get close to.
Yeah, he's going to become a bit of a terror, I feel, once he gets fully evolved. We'll keep our eyes on that one, though. This bottom lane pairing, it's actually moved very close in farm between Genja and Silver. Of course, Silver, though, has got himself a kill and assist along with Genja, so both of these are, in fact, completely even in terms of farm, even the supports at 0-1-2.
And it's a standard thing you see with Jinx. The very early levels, you're not that strong, you don't have enough damage to really go for the big fights, but after level 6, when you have your ultimate with the execute damage, you're very, very strong. And notice here, 2 wards in the bush Edward is in, and behind him, Diamond actually seems to maybe abandon. He's at least just waiting around, maybe for counter gank.
Yeah, I think they pinged it saying where the wards were. They knew that that bush was warded out. Genja continuing to keep the pressure on. And they are going to head themselves up. Edward goes around with the support of Genja to take down that pink ward. And now there is freedom of movement for Diamond.
So Diamond simply said, I expect my bot lane to be ganked. I'm going to move down there, just stay in the back, wait for something to happen. He also had the ultimate onto Darien. He can at least provide the shield. He might get interrupted and not join in, but he will at least give a shield.
We do see Jankos nearby though, so he's also looking at making a counter here. He's going to get spotted by the ward at the tower the moment he comes around. Top tower going to go down for Zazos.
And notice how Darien moved. He just went away from this turret because he knew it would go down, and also he would be in position to actually ultimate down and join in the fight. So he just abandoned the turret, walked all the way back to his own one if something should have happened. Everyone backed off though, both junglers went away from the bot lane.
Alex continuing to jump around, evolved his wings now by looks of it. So he's been leaping across there. You can see big wings on his back. It's a giveaway.
Definitely a giveaway, and now he's going to be able to get the resets if he can manage to pick up something in these team fights.
Looks like it's Darien with a pause at the moment. Looks like it's probably going to be a straight client restart. He's already left the game, so he's going to be rejiggering in there. Eddie decides to step forward and and just give ourselves a bit of a pose there. So taking a deep, thoughtful look at the screen and thinking, how are we going to turn this one around?
And if we look at items, we actually have the Sonya's completed onto Overpower as the first item for him. He's against a very physical heavy team. You have the Vi, you have the Kha'Zix, and obviously you have the Jinx. So have this early armor, very, very smart. And we can expect the rest of Rocket to also just go full armor. Completely ignore magic resist in this game, because what do you need it for? The Shen, the Morgana? Not really.
Oh, it's an intent focus from Darian. Keeping his eye on the game as it loads itself up there. Don't talk, don't unpause. The referee just saying, you can see the hand signals coming out there to the rest of Gambit. Everybody else keeping focus, no communication allowed at all between these teams.
Just look at the hair from Darian, man. He's putting some work into that compared to the rest of the team who just have it laying down. Darian, man, going up, looking good.
Is he a good-looking man?
He's a good-looking man.
Okay.
And I like actually obviously I like his normal outfit, but this Gambit shirt is actually looking very good on him. Oh. And also the glasses, I like them.
I'm glad we get fashion tips with the Fischio. It's amazing.
It is.
Amazing stuff. Let's get back into the game, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get that one back underway. So, ROC currently slightly ahead in the lane phase. Gambit themselves, you can see it's a 3,000 gold, well, 2,500 gold differential between the two. Zazas, he's making a move down here towards Alex.
It can. Okay, he seems he just want to go down and maybe pressure it out. Dragon is up in 2 minutes, so he's not moving for this. He want to go straight for this one.
Going for the tower.
And the only way Gambit can defend is if actually Shen joins in onto Alex. Seems not. He just want to give it up. Nice rotation from Rocket. Taking again advantage of the fact you have the next on top, shoving down the enemy top lane.
Big one being taken down by Jankos as well, and they continue to keep on pushing. So, slightly fought out there by ROC. Gambit will be again taking away those wraiths. Oh, explosive cast just to steal that wraith. That's just cheeky.
Well, it's smart because you're against the jungler with the jungle item. He wants to get this extra gold every time he jumps into the wraith for the wolf camp and kill them. So as long as they can delay Alex from getting the gold he needs, they will be a lot stronger in fights.
Well, it is going to be down to Darian, I feel, to get himself involved in this game. Along with Diamond, we really haven't seen much of Diamond. He's been trying to create them plays, trying to create something, but hasn't really had any ideal opportunities. I thought Edward was going to try and take the lantern there, maybe, but instead tries to throw out that Dark Binding, doesn't quite land.
And again, going back to Alex, he picked up the Mana Immune. Again, he needs to stack it up. He needs time to be a lot stronger. He needs his key items. He wants something like a Brutalizer to get some extra damage coming in there. So Alex is really more or less putting all his hope in the fact that this laning phase is going to keep going for at least 5-10 minutes more.
We'll see whether it lasts any longer. Pickaxe now being picked up by Zazas. He got himself the Sunfire Capes going towards that team.
And now we have Dragon coming up in 25 seconds. We hook making missing from Vander. Meanwhile, though, binding onto Celavar.
Dark Binding followed by the ultimate from Edward. We do see the rocket coming out from Genja. It's not going to be enough. There's the final hit. Gets the Excite on towards him. Tries to catch on towards Vander. Dark Binding not going to be back available. Yes, it is. It catches on. But Overpower and Jankos are closing the gaps. They're going to run away from this one. Edward's caught out. He manages to get spotted. But it's good disengage from Gambit.
And that was perfect for Gambit. First of all, they caught out Celavar with the binding. Dragon spawned now. Celavar, he's in the base. He's dead still. He's actually going to be spawned in 5 seconds. Seems though, if Gambit want to start, they have to do it straight away and not delay.
The hook thrown out, catches on towards Edward. They're going to go for this one. Edward quickly turns around. The chompers don't land this time around, but Vander's going to get taken low. Gambit have to make their time to go for that dragon instead. They're going to back away, and ROC will all be back in full force.
They will all be back in full force, and if we have a team fight, Darren will be able to join in. He will probably get some damage on his top turret if they can delay Rocket from straight up starting the dragon.
That's what I feel they're doing right now. They're buying time for Darian in that top. Everybody else now coming in. Alex actually just gone back to mid lane. They're not going to fight for this.
At least if they do, they need to go in now. Nope, jumps away with Diamond, gives up this dragon. They simply want to say, our combo, we need the item, we need the farm, we don't want to risk any early fights. And Rocket took the dragon, got at least something for it, but it's an issue that Celavar died for. He got caught out by very good binding from Edward, and then they just full on engaged. We saw the damage from Jinx, and also actually from Morgana support if she gets 2 ticks on her ultimates.
Power heading towards the top, but Darian should be taking his turret down before it's completed. There it is, that's going to be the turret, the final hit. Will tank that one out, not really too worried, but now he has to. Zazas and Overpower gets caught, blown in there, does use the Shadow Dash, but goes straight in towards Zazas. But looking down the river, can see Alex closing the gap, and ROC quickly back away.
So they get the top turret. Meanwhile, though, bot lane, Jankos moved all the way down, took advantage of the fact Diamond wasn't nearby, took the turret with his bot lane. And all in all, Rocket are doing what they can this early game, but they need to be careful because this Kha'Zix, the more farm he's gonna get, stronger he will be. Also, Shen late game, very tanky, and the combo with this Jinx, already 2 kills onto Genji, can be very deadly in the later stages of the game.
Alex taking the blue buff away this time around. We'll see when he makes use of it. Gambit combo has been fairly passive so far. Just waiting to see some of that aggression. Edward's really been the only one that's been trying to create the plays, and he has set up 2 kills for Genji, in fairness. So, as you mentioned, Alex just wants to get the farm going.
Constantly farming away. We haven't actually seen him back off from any farm. He's always going towards the jungle camp. This time around, Diamond is actually at the raid. Might even give it over to Alex, who jumps in there, yeah.
Yeah, Alex jumps across, gives him the race, takes it away. Let's see what he buys when he backs off. I think it may be the Brutalizer finally coming out.
Could be a Brutalizer, could be something. Yeah, he picks up the Brutalizer, gets some of the armor pen, goes straight into now the pickaxe. 2 options for him. Either he goes into a Hydra for even more wave clear, or he goes into the Last Whisper to get some of the damage he needs. Once he hits level 16, he will upgrade his Q, most likely, and then he will have the damage that we know from Kha'Zix, and he can get the resets together with the rest of Gambit, and therefore, or at least use that to win the fights.
Now though, we do see a slower play from both of these teams. 20 minutes gone in this game, and just 3,000 gold separating the two, or 2.5 still sitting at, which actually has been at 2.5 for quite some time, despite the dragons that Rocket have been gaining.
Yeah, it's actually been doing fairly well from Gambit side and keeping up gold-wise, even though they lost all these objectives behind in turrets. Edward, he picked up a target on Embrace, so he wants to now get the shield, and that's going to be so well. And they're going on to Jankos.
Jankos scored out. Where's he going to go? He's going to have to flash away from this one. Alex is quick to react there to Edward's Dark Binding.
Nice jumping in, forcing the flash away. Edward has really been doing work on this Morgana. If he can keep landing these bindings, if he can place the Black Shield onto Genji in team fights, he can be possibly the MVP.
I'll see Darian backing off. We'll see what he goes with next. He has got himself that Sunfire Cape. I expect to see yet more defensive items. It is going to be a Zeal. Okay, go for Trinity Force maybe.
Could go for Trinity Force. He could actually go for Static Shift because he picked up another crit item.
Oh god.
Upgrade that into Average Blade, into Static Shift, more split pushing potential. Straight up damage-wise, it's not going to give him too much late game, but he's going to be able to shove the waves even faster and apply pressure towards Rocket.
Yes. We'll see how it goes. Alex is taking a barrel. Meanwhile, Overpower starting to dominate this mid lane a little bit. Is actually behind in farm, but we can't count on that too much because a lot of it will have come from the jungle.
Exactly. We need to remember the small waves counts as a CS as well.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a lot of those in his big number, so he will be slightly behind, or should be slightly behind in gold. And meanwhile, Overpower is actually picking up quite some good items for him with a new needlessly large ward, so he's going to have a lot of damage.
Just getting drawn away from this one. The fact that he went for that Spirit the Elder Lizard does mean they know where he's going to go. Overpower catching on towards Diamond. The Shen ultimate coming in. They're locked across, but the Zhonya's Hourglass quickly used. They got really nothing to follow this one up through. So everybody trying to back away. Darian, he's trying to walk away, but it's not going to be enough. And Rocket, they have the power.
And yeah, Rocket shows they are a lot stronger in this 3v3 scenario. Nothing Gambit could do because Alex, he couldn't jump in. He won't be able to get anything because nobody was low, so he couldn't get out again. And he just stayed in the back, tried to harass. Meanwhile, Darian did try to join in. Didn't have anything to bring. A kill for Rocket. They might be able to pressure this turret. Meanwhile, the bot lane is going to push up.
Yeah, and the fact he hasn't evolved those claws, he's got no big burst damage just yet. There's going to be the Rocket. Is it going to be enough? Jankos taken low, but they're not going to follow through.
So decide to back off. There's a big wave top lane for someone to go and pick up. Meanwhile, as long as Rocket can keep taking these fights, maybe force something around the Dragon, around the Baron area, they will keep Gambit in a position they don't want to be in. Because Alex, again, he needs more time before he wants to fight.
Static Shiv is being built by Darian on the Shen. We'll see how that works out for him. He does continue to innovate, I think is one of the words I could use. There could be other words being used, but innovate I'll go with for this one, those builds.
I can see the idea for more split pushing. It will make him more squishy in team fights. That can be an issue, unless they don't want to fight at all from Gambit side and just focus on wave clearing and then Darian just pushing the lane constantly, forcing someone from Rocket to go up there and try and kill him. We will see though how much he can actually do with this Static Shift.
Let's see whether he goes for more damage afterwards as well. At the moment, it is under construction. Meanwhile, the AD carries, well, they both got themselves Static Shifts along with those Bloodthirsters. We do see a pickaxe from Selva though.
And we actually also see, looking here, Zazus might be caught on into this Baron pit, or he's catching out Darien.
Well, he manages to tank it out there. Oh, Edward quickly pulling out that shield, pretty much saving his life there. I'm pretty sure he would have gone down. And actually, Zazus took a lot of damage from Darien.
Maybe Darien just crit him quite a lot. Could be. But if you look at the fight here with Morgana, smart use of ultimate from Overpower, forcing Edward to use the flash, or he would have died straight into the face of possibly the rest of Rocket because he didn't have any vision on them. Meanwhile, though, catching out on Diamond here, just backing off.
Good damage onto Diamond, though. Zazus proving, proving that he has the power, as it were. Genja, well, he's gone himself back off towards the top. Alexic finally evolves.
Not the Q. Actually, his ultimate.
That was his ultimate. Yeah, so he's actually not evolving the claws at all.
So, upgrading his ultimate basically means he's going to take less damage when he's in stealth. So the AoE from Rocket is going to do less towards him. It also means he can activate his stealth one more time. It can work for him if he gets into a situation where he can come behind the team, jump in, but he won't have the Q damage, so he don't want to have this straight up single target burst.
Trying to pick his brains on this build and see how it works out. But he has got that last Whisper completed, so a lot of armor penetration from him. We'll see, of course, with those two Wardens Mail being stacked out by Zazus and Jankos, almost certainly need.
And we need to see what Rocket will do now. The Dragon is gone, they picked it up again, got everything they wanted. Will they start pressuring up turrets now, or will they just be happy delaying the game because they have a very strong late game setup? The only one actually falling kind of behind will be Renekton. But Shen, he's not going to bring too much other than being very, very tanky in a straight-up teamfight, so they might be happy with this trade and just say, you know what, we're fine with Gragas, Caitlyn going into this late game, and then we can just win from there.
Chalice is being picked up by Edward. We'll see whether he goes with that one, whether it's going to evolve into an Athene's or not. Of course, cooldown wouldn't be too bad for a Morgana, but as a support, you expect him to go with something else.
And now, look how Rocket is moving around this Baron pit. They want to get up some good wards to maybe set up something. And meanwhile, down bot lane, we always have Shen pushing away. Has ultimate, can join in for a fight, but it might be what Rocket wants. Force a fight, get him to teleport up, and then back off so he's away from the split pushing.
He's going to take the tower down before they do, that's for sure. That tower has gone. The rest of Gambit starting to move around. There's actually poising in the jungle right now. Alexic is going to be around the side, but Rocket have got good positional advantage. They really don't have the wave clear to try and take those minions away, and that tower's taking a lot of damage. While this is all happening, well, Darien is continuing to push. He's actually on towards the inner turret now. Diamond been blown away. He's going to use these assault battery. There is going to be the Stand United coming out, but it's not enough, which means he will be sticking down that bottom lane. He's going to keep on pushing, but Edward now goes down. The Chomper's going out. Alexic trying to keep them at bay, but he's been caught out by the slow. He has to leap away, and Rocket have themselves freedom to run through.
And it might actually have been in the advantage of Gambit, the fact that Diamond died before the ultimate. Does mean Rock can go for this Baron, but meanwhile, look at the Shen, he's just constantly pushing. If they can try and stop this one, they can get something right. It seems not, they're just giving it up.
Somebody has to go back, because he's going to be taking down the inhibitor turret, surely before they get there. That inhibitor turret has gone down, he's now on towards the inhibitor turret. You can see him walking in there. Rocket all going to back away. Don't think Darien's going to quite have enough damage though.
Zazus is there to stop him. He will be able to stop him as well and force him away. So nice move by Rocket. It could have gone wrong, but nice move going straight for the Baron. And now the rest of them might be closing down towards Alex and Darien in the bot lane.
Yeah, Alexic using a good job at basically keeping them at bay, using those void spikes to slow them down and buying Darien some time. But Baron picked up by Rocket. Great positional play. They now have themselves a 5,000 gold advantage and that giant buff.
And Diamond was so low when the fight actually pretty much started, when the shield was popped onto him because Overpower shot him backwards, so he died before Darien could join in. Simply meant he could get a tower more bot lane, but it also meant the Rocket could take the Baron, so in favor of them, they defend their base, and also now with the Baron buff, we can actually see them going straight up and maybe take just straight up a 5v5. 5 versus 5 fight.
We'll see how it works out for them, because, you know, losing 2 towers for a Baron is sometimes not a great trade. They have to try and take towers with this buff itself.
That's what I meant with the fact that it might actually be in favor of Gambit, the fact that Darien didn't get to join in. But look now here, he's going for Zazus. He already used the dash.
Oh, he's already just used the slice and dice, and Alexic was biding his time there, waiting in the bushes. Zazus in all sorts of trouble. He's going to get locked out here. This is a Baron buff as well. The Dominus is going to run, but it's not enough. They're going to get away. Vander on his own actually coming down here. He's got to be careful.
And wow, Alex, he just stayed bot lane here, kept himself hidden, waited for Darien to come down, picked up the kill. Recalling now means they can defend the turret and also delay the time Rocket can actually use this Baron buff. Very nice play by them.
Yeah, without that big tanky jungler, big tanky top laner, sorry, to come down. They've got really nothing that can take the hit, that can force them away. So that's bought themselves a long chunk of time here. So maybe the gamble that ROC used to get that Baron has not paid off.
To be fair though, they still have the advantage for them at least with all this wave clear that when they decide to go and push a turret, they can just constantly push the waves down towards Gambit and force them to either engage, like we saw before, but Darren ulted in a bit too late, or at least just try and move around the map and force Gambit to rotate with them and try and pick up turrets. So Rocket, I think he'll be happy enough not doing too much with this and just wait it out. Dragon is up in 1 minute and 15 seconds. Either they wait for this one or they just go straight up, trying to take this mid turret, and then later on they also have something like bot turret or top turret they can go for.
Well, Spirit Visage has now been built by Darren. Oh, Edward. Want to be cautious of Overpower. Has that explosive cask. And ultimate used by Alexich there to block out that damage, despite the fact, of course, that shield was always available. Overpower does go in. It's Alexich going to try and focus on. He does manage to leap himself away. Stand United was used as well by Darien, but the tower was taken.
And perfect for Rocket to get the turret, to also get the Shen ultimate, so he's no longer split pushing. And meanwhile, Dragon is up in 40 seconds. There's a big wave bot they can go and pick up for Overpower and then take Dragon, then go towards the turret. So very nice by them. And this forces Darien to stay with the team until the ultimate is ready again.
Will be a small cooldown. Threshold just missing out there. Alexich using that leap to dodge out that cocoon, and ROC, they're still pushing for this inhibitor.
They just want to keep Gambit forced all the way up into their own base, giving them no chance of moving out to do anything else on the map.
So Gambit do try and keep them at bay, and ROC will step away for now. Dragon up in 8 seconds, that's where they're running.
Straight up stand-up play from Rocket, using the fact that they know where Gambit is and they have them pushed up. It seems though Gambit won't try and fight for this one. They catch out Diamond.
Diamond going to dodge out. That death sentence is not even close to landing on towards Diamond. Diamond instead is going to try and dash away, but he's only gone in towards Overpower. The rest of his team not close enough for this one. Great play. That's going to be Diamond going down. Does use the assault battery on Overpower, but does next to nothing. Almost like his impact in this game so far.
So it seemed like actually Gambit wanted to try and contest this Dragon, but Diamond, he was too far out, he got caught out. Overpower came in from behind, picked up the kill. No Shin ultimate to try and save him. Another Dragon for Rocket, and Gambit got nothing from it.
Darien potentially staying around a little too long there, does dash away. And you saw actually with that Sunfire Cape static shift how quick you can push, but look at Rocket. They're just turning and burning. They're running straight for the inhib. And
Darren is forced to recall because there's no ultimate on him. So if he doesn't recall, Rocket can just go straight towards the turret.
They're going to come straight in there. Genji's not close to either getting the wave clear on them. They're going to tank this one out. Zaz's in the front line. They could try and beat this one down. Alexich hooked in there. Has to leap away. Has got those void spots to try and keep them at bay. Gets caught out by the slow and a second slow by that Vander ultimate. But it will keep them at bay just for now.
It was very nice Black Shield from Edward, stopping the stun coming in from Sasus onto Alex, giving him the chance to jump out and actually survive, even though he got caught by the hook.
Well, they have to back away because there's minions in the top and bottom lane. So ROC realizing they need to try and do some sort of defensive job in the mid lane because Gambit, they're trying to push forward. They're trying to force them out the mid and keep them away from that bottom lane.
And they're keeping Gragas in mid lane to wave clear, but Gambit, they have multiple people. They're actually going for the dive.
They're jumping on towards it, on towards that tower. Overpower having to use that Zhonya as he does try and get away. The rocket does not land, and Vander does try and get away from that one. Jankos is going to counter towards Alexich. Alexich, the ace in the hole coming through. He's going to get dropped down. Stand United not working out for Darien. They did not get a tower, they did not get a kill, and they're just going to have to back away.
And they went straight for Overpower when they actually saw the rest of Rocket being moving away, but due to his Zhonyas, he just popped it, survived it, and then the rest of both Sasus and Selva could get in there, join the fight, pick up a kill onto Alex, and they defend the turret, and Rocket looking very strong at the moment.
So Overpower going to get himself that blue buff, and at the moment it is a giant advantage for Rocket. They have themselves a near 8,000 gold lead built up here. Still only 4-3 in turrets, but you got a feeling those turrets are going to start tumbling fast for Rocket.
Rocket at least have a great setup for going up and taking down these turrets. Look at Overpower, he's fairly low, but he's waiting around. Maybe trying to catch Darren out. He face checks him.
Zazas is just below. He's actually going to try and go for it. Does manage to land the barrel, but not the belly slam. Jankos was also in there, but Darren, this time around, not going to stick around too long like he normally does.
And we have to see, when it comes to the big team fights, how much damage Gambit can actually do onto a single target, because they have the Vi, locks up a target, you have Jinx with a lot of single target damage, but you don't have this straight up burst from Alex with his Q or involved Q, because he decided to go with everything else except for that. So we need to see how much damage they can actually put out if they catch out a target.
Yeah, and I'm confused with that one still, but we'll see how it works out.
It's simply because they don't have any wave clear on Gambit's side. You're against Gragas and Caitlyn. If they push you up and you have no wave clear, they're just going to take down your turret, and there's nothing you can do towards it.
But I would have thought that if he'd gone that route, you would instead not evolve the ultimate to take the damage passive, literally just jump in, jump out, get the kill, get out.
Possibly he felt that he needed their defensive stats or defensive way he gets with the ultimate. When he pops it, he takes less damage when he's in stealth.
Yeah.
He probably didn't feel like he could actually survive anything from Rocket's side if he got caught out without it.
Well, at the moment, they are staring down Rocket, who are feeling that confident that they're going to try and force something at the Baron. And honestly, I'm not so sure whether Gambit can do anything about it.
It is still the place where they can actually try and make a comeback. If Rocket starts this Baron, and then you close in on them, you have Morgana, ultimate around the Nashor pit, or the Baron pit is very, very strong because there's a lot of targets you can hit. And meanwhile, the rest of Gambit can come in, try and pick up the kills they need. But Rocket, they're looking very strong, and don't seem to be taking any chances. Just backing away from the Baron for now, and want to get some more vision control.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this was never really the issue in the game for Rocket so far this season. It was all the lane phase, which for the first time in as many weeks, they've actually won out so far. Alexic taking that Spiderling from Jankos. The Ravenous Hydra also completed by Zaza, so he's going to be a bit of a split pushing monster as well, doing the damage as well as tanking it out. So far, big problems for Gambit to try and figure out how they can manage to work this one out. Rocket continuing to push in bunches.
And again, great rotation from Rocket. They go through the jungle, get a ward, and then have the big wave with the cannon coming up top and a very low turret. Take this one for free. You now have only one outer turret left that's down in the bottom, but they can just continue top and force Darren into ult. And look at Alex. He just did blue buff.
They could have tanked that one out. They're not going to go for it. Instead, Diamond is there trying to run interference. We do have Edward coming around the backside. Not too sure this is the right move he wants to make. He's going to land the Dark Binding on Vander, goes in, pops that ultimate, but Edward's taken so low. The Edward will proc off. The ultimate will proc off. Vander's going to be jumped on. Alex gets himself the reset. He's trying to look for another juicy target. Will he get on towards him? Overpower's so low, but he's going to have, and he gets on towards it, jumps towards Sullivan. Can he get in towards it? He's going to run away again. Darian running interference from the backside. He does. Jankos goes in there. Jankos, will he take it down? No. Alex gets the kill. Gets another kill. It's a triple for Alex, and it's an ace for Gambit. What the hell just happened?
That was such a perfect fight for Gambit when you have a car 6. Edward, he landed the binding onto the support. One of the most squishy members you actually have on this Rocket team. He got the binding onto him. He was stuck in the front. He got low. Alex came in, took the first kill, got the reset, jumped over to Overpower, who didn't use his Sonias. Then he got a second reset, and from there on, it didn't even matter. He didn't involve his Q because the targets were so low, he could just jump in and get the kills.
Check this fight out.
Notice here the binding onto Vander, how low he actually goes before the fights pretty much even start. Yes, Edward will die for this, but it's fine because notice Alex here jumping into Vander, getting the first kill and the reset, and there, take your focus onto Overpower. Taunted, 3-man taunt by Darren, very nice. No Sonya is used, Alex jumps in, another kill, jumps onto the AD carry, and this is where he is actually doing a very nice job popping his ultimate to kite, and then the rest of Gambit can just come in with Genja, getting the reset as well, getting his passive proc and get the kills.
Just walking towards those claws. So, Gambit have got themselves the Baron out of next to nothing there. Great fight started off. They're going to go for the Dragon as well. All the Rock out are up. They're going to have to hit and run very quick, but well, Genja can do that. He's just going to mow it down with that minigun. And just like that, the game is within 2,000 gold, and Gambit are back in it.
And that 3-man taunt from Darren and also the binding to engage with Vander in the front was the key things for Gambit. It meant that targets got so low that Alex could jump and get resets, continue jumping, and also he could proc the passive onto Genja, so he could continue chasing as well, together with Alex.
Now there's a Guardian Angel on Alex who's got that Mirror Mana and Black Whisper, Black Cleaver and Last Whisper, so lots and lots of armor penetration. Also, we do see the Infinity Edge now being completed by Genja, along with that Banshee's Veil. A lot of damage from the two men that count, and well, Darren continues actually to build tanky now after that static shift. Seems to be working so well for him.
And he actually has a Sightstone as well, so he wants to be able to put down some vision. Diamond Box has a Sightstone, he can put it down, and obviously Edward, a lot of wards from Gambit's side they can actually take down if they decide to get in a situation where they want to catch someone out, possibly in the jungle of Rocket. We see them already moving there, getting some few early wards. Diamond is backing off though, he must be able to afford some item.
Rocket are going to make sure they're not getting flustered by this one, the fact that they are now up against it. They are playing cautiously, nobody's going to get picked off because of course that's something that, well, Gambit love to do. They try and pick off those targets. Rocket are going to play very defensively, staying as a unit, staying back, but this is of course just going to give Gambit more gold. They're now going to sort of push forward. They have no vision, really. Alexic firing the void spikes and jumping backwards. It's kind of like the reverse, almost the same you can do with the 90 caliber net Piltover, but just with a Kha'Zix instead.
Notice the fact that Darren is actually here with the team. He didn't go up top lane to shock it out because he doesn't want to risk someone being caught out and his shield won't be enough to actually join in for the fight if they can burst down this target before the shield or before he actually teleports down. So he stays with the team, not taking any chances. We will see though if Gambit decides to actually dive this one. They did land the binding onto Jankos.
This is a straight siege though. Like the top and the bottom not being pushed, it's actually being pushed for ROC's minions, which tells me that Gambit really not going to get a great deal about this unless they're going to go really deep, which is dangerous, dangerous play. Alexic's taking a good burst of damage. That's half his hit points taken off that.
Yeah, with the way it's going here, Gambit have to dive. They won't be able to push this turret because there's so much wave clear. And as you mentioned yourself, the side lanes are not putting any pressure on towards Rocket. So now Hook coming in.
Hook on towards Darien, not really the target they wanted, and the choppers on towards Vander. Have they got enough? Alexic's thought about jumping in. The rocket coming out from Genja, but still not enough. And that may be actually what they needed to try and counter it. Look at Alexic. He's trying to get a pick around the side there while Darien does the work. And that town turret is suddenly much lower, and Rocket, they put themselves in that situation.
Yeah, just what Gambit needed. The Hook came in and then Vander actually jumped in with it to put down his flay. Did pretty much nothing towards the very tanky Gambit side here, and they got a lot of damage onto the turret. He will return soon. Now they have to be careful because now Gambit can go and kill the turret and then fight.
So they get themselves the inner turret. Where will it go from now? Because those waves that were in the top and the bottom are turning themselves around and they will be pushing in. But they bought themselves the time, this gap that they needed. And well, this Baron buff, it's still got about 2 minutes left.
And Rocket just have to try and just wave clear for the next 2 minutes. They don't want to go straight into a fight against Gambit with the Baron buff. If they can just avoid the minions from getting to the turrets in all the lanes, they'll be fine. At least to wait out the Baron buff, and then from there on they can take a fight.
Well, Baron buff has worn itself off. 2 minutes was slightly overestimated by myself. I wasn't quite sure on the timer exactly, but Rocket are being sieged, and this time Overpower's been caught out. Darien goes deep on the taunt there. Does get blown away before he manages to get killed off though, and survives. That's going to mean Gambit will all back off.
Yeah, that's used his flash. Kind of out of position for Gambit side when he actually taunted. Nobody was there to really follow up with him, so he managed to get out, nobody died. Everything can now reset. Genja wants these wolves, or he actually wants to go towards the top lane, putting some pressure on the turret.
Gambit not stepping away. They want to keep the pressure on the top there. You can see Genja in position to rotate round and go straight towards that tower. They do see Rocket are rotating towards it. Meanwhile, we can see Gambit, 3 members of them, keeping the pressure down. Of course, Stan United is available. Genja's continuing to hammer down that turret. He's got so much damage. Rocket can't deal with this one. Alexis comes around the side, jumps on towards Vander, doesn't manage to get the kill. Assault Battery comes in, locks him down, and that's another kill for Gambit. They are turning this game on its head right now. Diamond getting locked up, that inhibitor turret doing the damage. Overpower not able to belly slam, and Gambit again disengaged with another turret taken.
It's a very smart move again by Gambit. Genja went up with a very big minion wave to take down the turret. Meanwhile, Alex, he went in between the turrets because he knew there would be members from Rocket trying to move up there to defend. Jumped onto Vander, killed him together with Darien. Very nice play once again.
Everybody from Gambit looks like they may be disengaging here, apart from Eddie. He may get caught out. Ace in the hole's coming through here. They're going to try and chase on towards him. Jankos goes in there, but Genja's going to turn it back around. Minigunning down. Finally, the support is being defended by the AD carry, and all of Gambit step away. It's a minute until Dragon and Baron spawn. That's going to be the next objectives.
So let's see if Gambit decides to wait for this Baron. Both teams are so even in gold. Everything can happen in the next fights, and they will be the deciding ones. If a team can catch someone out, get the Baron, and then proceed to just push up in the enemy base, they will have a great advantage and maybe even try and close out the game from there. But it's been so close. We can't even say the next Baron is going to be the 100% deciding one.
Everybody backs off. They've got a lot of gold, Gambit, from that last encounter. Now we see big chunks of health being picked up by everyone. Darien, of course, with that Warmugs, which I can never remember the damn name of. Meanwhile, Alexic himself, see what he's going to go with, actually. He hasn't gone back.
And let's see how much Gambit actually decides to ward up before this Baron spawns, because they have the free side stones. They can put down a lot of vision in their favor. And we actually see Diamond already putting down 2 wards early. Meanwhile, Darien still has some wards, and also we have Edward coming down from base. They can get full vision of the jungle from Rocket and then pick up someone if they should split up.
Alexic with 1,500 gold on him, hasn't gone back, he hasn't really got a slot to buy. We'll see.
He needs to sell his jungle item.
He needs to sell his jungle item, yeah, at some point. Depends what it's going to trade it to. We'll see how that one goes. Meanwhile, Rocket, you can see, trying to get in, trying to sweep out those wards, trying to get themselves some vision on towards this Baron, but you can see Genja is sneaking off down that bottom. He's taking Dragon himself.
He wants to take the Dragon. If he shows down bot lane, Rocket knows obviously he's not there and might go for something, so wisely enough, takes Dragon, goes up towards the team again. The Baron is going to be the big fight.
Well, the hook not going to land. The barrel comes out from Overpower, trying to use those cooldowns to get some sort of hits on towards Alex Ich. Genja rejoins the team, and we do see Darien. He's heading off down towards the bottom. He's going to get that split push going. Remember, he's already had damage done to that bottom inhibitor turret.
And with the static shift and the Sunfire Cape, he can really shove it out fast, and he will force someone for Rocket to actually react, go down to try and defend it, and that's where Gambit can start the Baron and then be 5 versus 4.
Edward getting that barrel roll towards him. Explosive Cask is just going to force him away. Not going to get the kill, but Genja split off here. He'd gone towards the top. He's going to try and push that top wave.
And Rocket, they tried to force out the ultimate from Darien. That's why they win on just the first target. Wisely enough, though, they didn't use it. So he's still down in the bot lane, forcing Rocket now to be more careful and also sending members back to the defense. Darien, though, did actually abandon because now it's slow pushing in favor of Gambit, it seems. And he didn't... Oh, going back towards the bot lane. Or not. He's just doing enough.
I think their vision, the coverage they've got, they've realized that actually Rocket have backed off, so no reason to stick around, no reason to keep pushing it. As you mentioned, it's going to slow push, and that's kind of what they want, I feel. They're just trying to bide their time. Alex Ich is going to clear out, get himself in there, will clear out, keep Zazas at bay, can leap out at any moment. Genja has slow pushed the top wave as well, so both of the waves now in the advantage of Gambit.
And as long as they can keep Rocket here, the waves are going to push more and more in their favor, and Rocket has to at some point to back off and go down to defend the big minion wave coming. We actually see Darien moving towards the bot lane once again. Now they know Rocket is near this Baron.
These Void Spikes really not doing a great deal because everyone on Rocket is built so tanky now. But Gambit still keeping themselves this advantage in the river. We see down the bottom, Darien is going to wipe out that wave once again and keep it pushed.
They're going again here, up in the fight. Going for Genja.
No, they've actually used the DFG. They haven't done too much. Is it enough? Oh, the explosive gas into the ace in the hole. Beautiful combo coming out from Rocket there. The damage going back and forth. Alex Ich forced to jump away. Guardian Angels is going to be proc. Darien doing a lot of damage. Overpower's gone down. Alex Ich manages to get back out there with the Guardian Angel, with Sullivan's the one they need. Darien and Edward trying to get away from this one. Sullivan desperately chasing on towards them. Alex Ich is backing away. You can see the talisman being used. They're going to keep on chasing, but it's the tankiest member of Gambit they're focusing on. And yet it was just 2 for 1 in favor of Gambit. Look at Alex Ich. He thinks he's Peke. It's not going to happen.
Alex want to try and stop Rocket from actually starting the Baron. They want to force him to come back and defend. That's why he went down here, even though he's so low. Also, he can just jump over the wall if he's feeling there's a chance he's going to die. Very smart play by him. And actually, Genja caught out, died before the fight even started. Yet, Gambit managed to kill 2 members from Rocket and actually more or less win the fight, even though they were so low. And Rocket couldn't do the Baron because Alex went down here in mid lane.
Alex Ich gets himself some time on the inhibitor turret, just a little bit. Let's check out this fight because it was pretty wild on Genja.
And notice how they actually catch up. First they go towards the Edward, when flashes in to Genja, pops the DFG, and then they get with the Caitlyn ultimate and Gragas ultimate, shoot him straight into it, boom, dies. The Shen ultimate is actually onto Alex at this point, so that's why he won't be saving Genja. Joins in for the fight with Darien. This here actually where technically Rocket should be losing the fight, but they still manage to pick up 2 kills, and Alex does get his Guardian Angel pop. Notice Silver here, how much focus he actually used on Alex. Pops down the trap, waits for him to spawn. He doesn't hit anyone here from Gambit side, waiting for Alex, who then flashes away, jumps away, survives, and the rest of Gambit meanwhile just doing damage towards Rocket.
I've got to be honest, I saw the pentakill last year, so I know I'd be focusing on Alex Ich as well. Gambit in, they're taking Baron. Rocket coming in towards this one. It will be taken before they get there though. Gambit can turn this one and run towards Rocket. You can see Darien, he wants to get on there. Cocoon's being thrown back, barrels being thrown back, and Gambit have got themselves the advantage once again, and now the gold is swung massively in their favor. From a nearly 5,000 gold deficit, they have themselves a 4,000 gold lead.
But such a great call from Gambit, just going straight in, picks up the Baron before Rocket is even in a position to try to defend. Now, with the last Baron bot they went down here, took some turrets, forced Rocket into some fights, where they actually managed to pick up kills from Gambit side and then get out alive. If they can do the same, we are onto the inhib turrets. They can then afterwards go for the inhib and put even more pressure towards Rocket.
So far, Rocket are in all sorts of trouble, trying to keep them away from this game, and really, it's been a story for the last few weeks where Rocket, honestly, they are on a bit of a downward spiral. Some would say, God or Makers-esque. They are 0-3 so far in the last 3 games. Could it be 0-4? They looked so strong in the early game in this matchup, but Gambit really clawed their way back into it.
And the scary thing for them is this game, they actually managed to do well early game. Has been the issue early on. This time around they did well early. And now we've actually been losing it late game. So Gambit simply rotating well against them, picking up Barons, and then we had the big fight up in top lane that really was the game changer for Gambit side. Hook coming onto Edward.
Oh, explosion there. An explosive cask is exactly what it does. LCS taken down. Edward's going to be the next focus. Gets flayed on. He's going to get caught out. This Baron buff doing nothing to help them out there. Edward tries to run his ultimate, but he gets caught out. Jankos chasing the diamond. Jungler versus jungler. Going to rappel on back on towards him and continue chasing. Genja may well rotate round on this one. The cocoon catches him as he tries to get through, but he's flashed. Where's he going to go? He's going to head straight in towards Celeber. He's going to have to recall as quick as possible. Genja may well find Jankos. He does, and that's going to be Jankos. Surely doesn't want this fight, but the rest of Rocket, they're rushing straight up that mid lane. Genja doesn't quite catch on. Diamond comes back around there. Assault battery. Oh, it's confused. And the rocket does not land because Jankos had repelled. Now look towards the mid lane. We can see they're on towards the inhibitor turret. Rocket charging through, taking down the base of Gambit, and everybody has to get back and defend.
And actually the Guardian Angel being popped in the last fight from Alex gave Overpower the chance to just instantly kill him here. Went on to Edward, long chase. Actually, due to Jankos chasing Diamond and Genja, he managed to keep them away from the base so the rest of Rocket could just push up, take down Inhib. Very nice move from them. And this was against the Baron buff Gambit.
And that was all about Alexic simply getting caught out and exploded by Overpower.
DFG Gragas catching him out, instantly burst him down. No Guardian Angel. Will still be, well, not too long before the next. Oh, his Guardian Angel is going to be ready again, so he can then go in for this fight, actually jump in, even die, and then jump out afterwards.
What a game we have so far. 50 minutes into this game, and as you can see, it's Gambit still with that gold lead, but honestly, these team fights could go any way right now.
And we just simply need to see if Gambit can catch out a target, get them low. We see the replay coming in here. Look at the damage on Alex. DFG, full burst combo from Overpower, instantly dead. He had the ward there, he didn't expect that one, that's why he got caught out.
So Gambit themselves have a bit of an uphill struggle once again. They thought they had this game under control, but it turns out it was just a ruse by Rocket, lulling them into a false sense. And of course, everybody now hitting 6 game items. How do we balance these two teams? Because now that they're in this insane late game,
everyone is so tanky, it's going to be all about the poke beforehand. And then also if someone like Edward can manage to land a bind, like we saw him do in the top lane fight, onto Vander. He has a frozen heart though, so he's a lot more tanky than he was for that fight. So he's going to be a lot harder to kill. But if they can catch out someone, let's say Silver, maybe even Jankos, who is fairly squishy compared to the rest of the team, they might be able to get them low. Alex can come in, get the reset, and that's what Gambit needs. If Rocket can manage to not drop low, not give the reset to Alex, they will have the advantage in this fight. Look at Silver, he has so much damage on everyone getting close to him. Even the Bedroom King to do more damage towards the tanks.
well, let's see how it goes. Next fight is the biggie, that's for sure. Inhibitor down for Gambit currently. Gambit themselves have yet to get in and take an inhibitor turret, although they are all 3 of them fairly low. They've managed to do damage to every single one, not focused individually on them, and we can already see big wards going down from Edward, making sure that Baron is covered off, because I actually think we're going to see this game delaying until that Baron is formed.
The thing we noticed item-wise, we actually see 2 damage items onto Sasus compared to only the static shift on Darien, so he's going to be more tanky. The focus for Gambit might actually be Sasus when he jumps in. Try and burst him down because, yeah, he is having only 3 defensive items, so they might be able to get him, get reset with Alex, and then jump on. But it's going to be a lot of the focus onto Genji, who has to do all the damage to him.
Black Cleaver as well for Zazos, along with that Hydra. He's
exactly.
got a lot of penetration in there, so just the top lane, despite being a walking tank with, it looks close to 5,000 hit points on him, he is also got a lot of damage and actually would wreck Genja, I think, if he could get on towards him. Genja, of course, will not be
if he can get onto him. There's also the Banshee onto Genja, so he can prevent some like stun, or maybe even the Gragas ultimate if it's going towards him. And then he's just going to stay in the back, Black Shield on from Edward, and just fire away. And again, Gambit, can they get this first kill? Then they can just roll over Rocket, because they get the passive proc onto Genja, and also they get the reset onto Alex. Meanwhile though, a lot of poke from Rocket side. If they can get some good pokes in before they start the fight, they will have the advantage.
Chasing on towards Diamond, not going to catch on towards him. The fight over the red buff is really not a game-losing opportunity. Baron up in 1 minute. ROC with full coverage on the Gambit jungle. And Gambit themselves are trying to get as much coverage as they can, as quick as they can. Of course, Darien, well, where else would he be? He's down the bottom lane, he's split pushing, he's keeping the pressure on towards them, and they have to be aware of that because he got into that base last time they went for the Baron, took those 2 turrets down, could do it again.
He's really annoying for Rocket to deal with because he more or less signals either you go straight into a fight or you just let me push and I'm going to take down your inhib. So Rocket now actually closing in towards this inhib or just moving a little bit around, not sure where they want to go. Maybe trying to catch someone out, but Diamond as well, he's very tanky at this point. He also has a Fawn mail, so he will be very out of kill.
Top wave actually been pushed in. Genji's going to clear that one off. 20 seconds until this Baron spawns. We see Overpower heading back. We see a couple of members of Rocket all keeping their distance here. Overpower will go back and bite. So Gambit get themselves an opportunity to get back in that river. Try and clear it out again.
Baron is... We talked earlier about how actually the last Baron wouldn't be the deciding one because the teams were so close. This one we don't even know for sure. This time around though, Rocket is actually in the area when Baron spawned. Gambit can just rush it down like they did before.
They do have 2 Guardian Angels on towards Sullivan and Overpower, so that's a big thing for Rocket. Of course, Darien and Alexich have themselves a Guardian Angel. Darien, he's feeling pretty confident that he can really take on anyone he wants to at the moment in Rocket.
He should be. Look how tanky he is with pretty much everything he has, and then with the static shift onto someone like Sasus, he's actually able to do a fairly decent amount of damage in a 1v1 and force Sasus to back off because Renekton has absolutely no damage in such a tank.
Pressure being used by Gambit here. Bottom lane is being pushed out. We are about to see Overpower show himself down there and take down that wave. He's going to have to run fast because Gambit have turned tail. They're heading straight for Baron.
And look at the way Overpower did it. He walked down through the bell and instantly turned around because he knew Gambit would go straight for this Baron. They can take it very, very fast. Can Rocket get in there in time?
Rocket all closing the gap. They will get close enough. Dark Binding catches on Zazas and they're just going to actually disengage. Going straight for Zazas, the tankiest member by far. But they've put some good wave clear. But look at Diamond. He's getting Assault Battery onto Sullivan. He's gone so deep on this one. Stand United being used by Darien. That's Zazas still being taken down. The death sentence does not land because the Banshee's Veil keeps it at bay. And Gambit, well, disengage again. These fights, man, they are going to be long.
And this is what you see. Alex, he didn't even join the fight because nobody was low from Rocket's side. There was nobody could jump in on. Meanwhile, Rocket didn't have the damage to take down Gambit here. They did get the Banshees popped onto Genji, but he's going to respawn for the next fight anyway. And they tried to kill Darren. He was forced actually to flash out and also got the ultimate from Shen. I mean, Diamond, sorry. Forced to flash out, got the ultimate from Shen, and then managed to survive.
Alexich gets in, steals away the blue buff there. The rest of Rocket are trying to force something, trying to separate the team here. They are going to catch on towards Darien. You don't want Darien in your team. He's just going to shadow dash back on towards you. Darkbine in, Rocket comes in. Zaza's pulled away quick by that death sentence, and now they're running like by their lives. Can they get away from this one? They should be able to, but Gambit, they can turn back towards the Baron.
This should mean the Baron for Gambit, or at least for them starting it. Sasus, he has to go all the way back to the base, pop his home guard, and then return back here. So there will be some time for Gambit to take up this Baron without him being there.
So Gambit are on the Baron and the rest of Rocket coming in. Explosive Gas is ready and waiting to go, but they're going to try and come in towards it. Baron are going to peel once again here. Can they catch on towards it? Diamond's the one that should be into the Baron pit, but instead he's going to assault battery. Sullivan's been caught out. Sullivan with the dark binding. They jump straight on towards him. Diamond is going to get taken down here. Sullivan's Guardian Angel has popped. The choppers are going to be straight on towards him. Lantern gets him away from it. Is it going to be enough? They can't get on towards him. Guardian Angel, but Alex is now being popped. They're jumping back and forth. They're going to try and chase back on. Alex, it's hooked in there, but nobody to follow through. Now they're going to get ace in the hole. Edward, it's taken so low from this one. It's just a 1-for-0 engage with all the Guardian Angels being popped left and right. And Gambit are going back to the Baron once again.
And look at Rocket. Are they actually going to go up and try and stop this one? Gambit is so low. Both Guardian Angels are popped. Can they go in there? It seems they're just going to stay away or actually going for Silva. He's far behind though.
They're coming back in towards this one. Will Lantern catch on towards anyone? Vanda's looking to get on the Zazas is back, full hit points. But Genja is playing defensive duties and keeping Rocket back here. They're going to jump back across. Overpower getting targeted by Alex Hitch this time around. They do manage to get the Void Spikes. Overpower is so low. He's got no Guardian Angel available. They're still tanking out the Baron. The Baron's taken so low. Zazas being focused. Gambit get the Baron, but at what cost? Darien gets taken down. Alexis goes too deep. Gets hooked up beautifully. And that's going to be an assault battery. Overpower caught out. That's going to be see the Guardian Angel pop. Diamond has to get back on towards Overpow. He has to focus him, but he goes down. It's now a 3-kill advantage for Rocket, and they turn towards them, but they are losing their inhibitor turret. They have to get back to base. They're going to push for it.
2 people can go and get the inhib turret from Gambit's side. Meanwhile, Jankos can defend their own base, Overpower and Vander recall, so they're not going to try and go and finish this game, take the inhib, back off, and then the Baron is off. The Baron was actually taken out by Gambit, sorry. So this means the rest of Rocket has to just try and join in.
They've decided not to defend it, and that is a massive pile of minions on towards that base. They've got to really be trusting in this one. They've only taken inhibitor back down there. Genja is back defended, but the rest of Rocket, all 5 members, pushing up for this one. They really needed to get on Genja. They got 30 seconds. This actually may be a bad decision for Rocket because there's a giant wave of minions heading towards that inhib.
Let's see how much Gambit can actually try and defend here. They need to clear the wave, get the damage onto the Rocket members, and then try and go for this one. Everyone's going in.
Edward goes in, pops the ultimate. Is it going to be enough to stun them all up? It is. He gets the stun down. The Rocket comes out. They have managed to get one Nexus turret down here. They're going to try and goes on towards it. Genja comes out. He gets on the fountain. He does manage to survive. Darien is up. The hook on towards Genja. He's trying to get back away from this one. The Nexus is being worked out. They're taking it down. Rocket are going to take the game. Rocket have beaten Gambit in an epic match. Just close of the hour mark, but by God, it was a long burster for sure, and Rocket have managed to close out their 3rd victory over Gambit and break their 3-game losing streak.
And what an absolutely insane ending. Dancing back and forth with the Baron, fighting each other. Jankos first, Sasus dies, or almost dies, goes back to the base, joins in again. Jankos dies, Rocket stays around, comes in, no Guardian Angels onto Alex or Darren. Yes, the Baron went over to Gambit, but then they died for it, and Rocket just pushed all the way up and finished the game.
What an insane last 20 minutes of that game. Back and forth action, some impressive team fights from both teams, really, in really what was a gigantic tank struggle. You just got to wonder, for Gambit, if only they had have stepped away from that Baron. They were all so low, and they went back in the Baron. They got the Baron, but as I said at the time, at what cost? And Rocket pounced on it.
Gambit definitely expected to be more healthy compared to how Rocket was actually. I don't think they knew Sasus was at full HP when he came in there, because he had gone back to base, returned up for the fight, and when they actually took the Baron, if they could have backed off, perfect play. But simply due to Sasus being there full HP, he could join in, the rest of Rocket came with him, and they just managed to punish Gambit for this little bit too over-aggressive play.
And they just didn't seem to have... We talked about how they had that single target obliteration, but they actually didn't, when you think about it, because Alex didn't take that Q.
That's exactly the point. The last team fight, we saw Alex jumping over the wall. He went on to overpower, did absolutely no damage to him. Tried to get the reset, even though one of the members from Rocket was very low. He didn't have the damage to actually finish him, get the reset and jump on. Instead, he died together with Darien, and they can just finish off the rest of the members, leaving only Edward and Genja to defend.
What an insane match, ladies and gentlemen. If you just missed it, well, you can get over to lollysports.com and watch it when the video goes up there. A lot of big plays in this game, that's for sure. Anything that really grabs your, anything you can think of, because I'm thinking of like the tower move, the down the bottom, the top. In fact, I'm thinking like it's a 56-minute game, 50 or 59 minutes, 35 seconds, gigantic game. So many good plays.
For me, the fact that Rocket didn't give up the Baron in the end. They had a member dead, they were actually low, they could have backed off. It would have been, let's say, some teams would actually say, we're just going to back off, not going to risk being aced here versus a Baron team who couldn't finish. They went in, 4 people against 5, felt confident, stopped or at least killed the members after the Baron was taken, and then they could win the game. That was the big play. The fact they didn't back off, they just went in there for the fight.
And they finished off the game. Fantastic performance, and of course that puts Rocket at the top of the table.
Yes.
Copenhagen Wolves themselves on a 5-game win streak as well. This Super Week, well, we've got another 14 games to go in this Super Week. There's going to be so much action, so many changes at the top. Now, for now, Rocket at the top of the league, but there's a team called SK Gaming that's going to be playing in a moment that are chasing them down.
I will still say we have to give a lot of credit to Rocket, because beating Gambit is always very, very hard. And then, yes, they won the early game. Then they had some issues going into the very late game start where they lost some fights to Baron. But they managed to keep it cool and then get back in the game, win it. And we just have to give such a big amount of credit for them to actually keep the head core. They are a very new team in this LCS and still managed to do this.
Up against Gambit, of course, as well,
Gambit.
a team that they would have been looking at for many years. We got to recall to base for a moment, ladies and gentlemen, but stay tuned to hear from ROC's Vander about that game. Then our Super Week will be continuing with the third place SK Gaming taking on Millennium, team that is in desperate need to get out of the bottom of the table. We'll be right back. They do manage to get the Void Spikes. Overpower is so low, he's got no Guardian Angel available. They're still tanking out the Baron taken so low. Santa's being focused, Gambit get the Baron, but at what cost? Darian gets taken down, Alexis goes too deep, gets hooked up beautifully, and that's going to be an Assault Battery. Overpower caught out. That's going to be the Guardian Angel pop. Diamond has to get back on towards Overpower.